We are beginning with breaking news right now. And we start with some disturbing new evidence presented in the murder of Ahmaud Arbery in South Georgia. His death sparking national outrage, with protesters outside the Glynn County Courthouse right now demanding justice. 3 men are charged in Arbery's murder, accused of chasing, shooting, and killing him as he jogged in a Brunswick neighborhood back in February. The men only arrested last month after video of the confrontation was posted on social media. William Roddy Bryan is one of the men appearing in court via video conference. He filmed the confrontation with his cell phone back in February. A GBI investigator testifying today that Bryan admitted to assisting Gregory and Travis McMichael in Arbery's death by using his truck to redirect Arbery along that road. The investigator says that Bryan and the McMichaels then trapped Arbery between their vehicles. And that's when the investigator says Travis McMichael pulled out a shotgun and shot Arbery 3 times, 2 times in the chest, once in the wrist. Bryan previously stated he was only a witness who recorded the video. But according to the GBI, before Bryan's arrest, Travis McMichael admitted Bryan was indeed an ally.
During a jail call that my agency obtained and reviewed, Greg McMichael was on the phone with a caller. The caller asked him about Mr. Bryan. At first, Mr. McMichael says he can't talk about it, and then he says that Mr. Bryan is an ally.
He uses the term ally referencing his co-defendant, Mr. Bryan.
He does.
This is after the McMichael's arrest, but prior to Mr. Bryan's arrest?
That's correct.
That GBI investigator also testifying that Travis McMichael, the son, never saw Arbery steal anything but pursued him out of instinct, and that after the shooting, before police arrived, Travis called Arbery a racial slur. We're continuing to monitor the testimony from this preliminary hearing, which is still underway right now.